Hey everyone, Leo with Dreaming Tree, and welcome to the assembly video for our golf gift box. So we had this idea to take a putting green and turn it into a gift box. And I took it one step further because I had this fake actual fake grass material sitting around. You typically find it at Hobby Lobby in the model train section. It comes in a big roll. I'm sure they sell like smaller pieces of it. I've used it for photo shoots before, but I tested it and it cut. So we're actually going to use that for our green, just because I thought it would look really cool. So anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to put together the lid first, because I'm really excited to see what that's going to look like. And we're going to put the sides together first here, and you'll notice that we have 3 of these, and these are all pretty much the same. Okay, so if you look here, if we put them on top of each other, these are all identical. Okay, so it doesn't really matter which one you grab first, they're all the same length. But what you'll notice here is that we have little score marks and then an extended tab. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to take and we're going to apply glue to most of this strip here, except you don't want to go too close to that edge there. And then over here, we're going to put just a little bit right up to the edge and actually spread it out to the very edge. Okay, so that when we connect these two, okay, so you do want to make sure that you keep the horizontal lines here lined up so that everything is nice and straight. If you need to use the straight line on your mat to help you make sure that it is straight, that's fine. We just want this to be continuous and straight. So check your alignment. That's really the only way to do it, to be sure. And then as it's drying, you can kind of give it a little bit of a curve, okay? So we're gonna do the same thing with the next strip. So go ahead and apply your glue here. Don't go past that little score mark area. Let me flatten this out real quick. And then we're gonna put glue right up to the very edge there. Spread that out to the very, very edge. And I'm gonna do the same thing here. I'm gonna use my little mat here just to make sure that I'm getting this on nice and straight, because I can't fold it over onto itself. Okay, there we go. Nice straight strip. And this is gonna have some overlays on it. This is just the base of it. Okay, then we're gonna bring this all the way around, and then we're gonna connect this here like so. Same thing, nothing's changed here. Same process. Bring this down almost to those lines, but not quite. And then on the other end, just up to the edge, spread that out like so. Whoops, almost got glue everywhere. And then go ahead and match that up with the score mark. And you're just gonna have to use this line up here to make sure that everything is nice and straight. And I was a little bit off there, so I'm gonna redo that because I don't want to mess this up. 1 second here. This is a funky little thing. It's kind of hard to see on this dark green paper. There we go. Keep that line nice and straight. And then you can actually put this down on your surface and press down. So this tab is kind of angled. It's going in a little bit. So you don't want it flush here, okay? But you do want this part to be flush. Okay, so now what we're gonna do, let's make sure that everything's nice and dry. We have what we're gonna call a little skeleton piece. We're gonna pop this in here, and it is going to help form our lid. Okay, you can kind of see how this is going to work. And it doesn't really matter where we start. Got to start somewhere. I'm going to start over here where just kind of anchor it at any point, and we'll just throw one little dot of glue on each of these little tabs, fold them over, put that down, and then push up against the paper here, the form, and then you can push down with your finger inside, get those tabs in place. We want that to butt up against this piece as far as it'll go. Okay, and you can see we have our first set of tabs glued down, and we are literally just going to go around the horn and glue this down a few tabs at a time. We'll do the same thing here. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And don't worry about blemishing this piece here. It's all going to be covered up with another layer. So if a little bit of glue spills out, that's fine. So we got glue on these 5 tabs. We'll tuck that under again, push in up against this piece here, and then with this finger, just push down on those tabs. This is very simple, the way that this is engineered. Okay, we have our little skeleton piece to help guide the way. All right, pull back 5 or so more tabs, whatever you feel comfortable with. You could probably do more. I just don't want to get greedy here and then regret it. I got 6 there. We'll fold those over. And again, pushing down with my finger inside and pushing up against the structure from the outside. So by making these curved surfaces is actually not as hard as you would think with this method, okay? So I'm gonna pull back a few more, maybe just do 6 at a time until we're done. 4, 5, 6, fold them over. And now this one has a little bit more going on here. So just make sure that you are pushing it up against our little skeleton piece as far as it'll go, up to that point, wherever that tab is. There we go, just like that. And I've got glue all over my fingers here. All right, let's peel back a few more. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Fold them over. Again, pushing in from outside, down from inside. And there we go. Pretty snazzy. There we go. Look at that. And you can see the rest of it's kind of falling into place. The engineering on it is impeccable. I love it. It's going to be a perfect little way to give that golfer a cute little gift box. Okay, fold those in and under, push up against the skeleton, and while you're pressing down from the inside, super easy. Okay, and the rest of it is going to be cake. All right. Now I'm getting cocky here, and I'm doing about 7 or 8 at a time. And tuck that under, pushing in from the outside and down from the inside. Okay. And keep on cruising here. Fold those over, pushing in. You get it. I think you get it now. So anyway, I know that a lot of people have been asking for golf-related stuff for a long time, and we still need to do a card, and thought about doing a few things, but I thought this was a really cool idea. Like, why not? There's only so many things you can do with golf-related stuff as far as paper goes. We're like, what's the coolest thing we could do right now with golf? I've never really seen a box like this anywhere. Okay, there we go. There we go. Okay, so that, look at that lid. That's cool. Okay, so we devised a little thingy here, a little structure. It's essentially a little box. Okay, so you want to fold it. These longer tabs here, we're going to use these tabs to anchor this to the top. So ultimately what this is going to be is a little compartment for hot glue. Okay, so this thing's going to kind of dangle there in the box, and we're going to fill it with hot glue when we put the flagpole in, and that should hold it in place. So there's one little tab on one end here. No one's going to see this, so if you get a little sloppy, that's fine. Just take the other end, press it on top of that tab, and then press down to form a little box. Okay, so you can see what that looks like. My hands are all sticky with glue. I'm sorry about that. Okay, and then on the top part with the smaller tabs, push those in. There's 3 triangular tabs and then a square. I'm going to put glue on the triangles, press the square onto the triangles to close it up. You can put that down on your surface if you want, and then grab a little dowel to help push that in. I'm actually holding the little flagpole. This is a hibachi stick that I cut and shaved down to about 4 3/4 inches. Okay, so now these little tabs, we're gonna spread them out like this, and you have your little bottom in place. Let that dry, make sure it sets. Pop that into this little cutout, like so. And yes, a little bit of it is gonna be kind of hanging out like that, and that's okay. And what we're gonna do is we're going to put glue on these and glue them to the surface here. And just press that down, and then we'll go over to the other side and press that down. Careful not to destroy your little box in there. And then we'll go over here and press that down, and do that with all 4 sides to create your little hot glue container. Okay, you can press down from the inside. Here we go. Cool. All right, next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this layer in place now. And after what we did, it should fit on here perfectly, and it does. Okay, so we're gonna put this layer on first, and we're gonna follow it up with this layer. Now, if it makes it easier, which it might, I think I'm gonna actually glue these 2 layers together first. Okay, so let's do that. Again, this is my fake, this is my turf paper. It's kind of weird. It's almost has like a, I don't even know what that is, like a craft backing to it. Okay, so we just want to make sure we get this lined up correctly. Pardon my head if it's in the way. Okay, feel it, make sure it is on there accurately. Hopefully it sticks. Okay, I found my brayer somewhere. I'm gonna flip that over and see how accurate it is. Looks pretty good, actually. Might have a little bit of it. No, that's not bad. Okay, let's see how flat that actually sits. I don't know, I've never worked with this material before. I hope it works. And so far, so good. Looks like it's, I mean, it is, there's a paper element underneath it, so I don't see why it wouldn't work. So when you get this lined up, you want to also make sure that this brown part here where the hole is, that it is centered on that little square that we created. Okay, and a little bit of this is actually going to overlap on the edge. So try to center it so that there's a very slight overlap all the way around. You can kind of feel it with your finger. Okay, so we're gonna actually apply glue to the structure. I'm gonna do a nice thick line around the perimeter, and then I'm gonna spread that out. I'm gonna go moderately thick here, and then we'll do a little bit on the inside. Okay, and as I mentioned, we're gonna spread this out to the very edge, and if we need to, use the little painting method to kind of clean this up. That's fine. This is, I'm in uncharted territory right now with this material. Okay, so I'm not even sure what's gonna happen yet. We'll see. But like I mentioned, lay it down, make sure that you have it on top of that little hole and that it's centered, and then feel it and make sure that you feel a tiny little bit of that just kind of hanging over ever so slightly. And actually that worked out better than I could have imagined. Okay, and don't worry if you get a little bit of glue spilling out, not a big deal, because we have another panel that is going to go around the side. Okay, and I'm looking at it from this angle here, and I can tell that a little bit of that is sticking out, which is what we intended. Okay, and there's our beautiful putting green. I don't know who the landscaper is, but give that man or woman a raise, because that is some of the nicest putting green I've ever seen. Okay, so that layer's on. Again, grab the piece with the 1 on both sides. Okay, now remember this does taper in a little bit, so we want to focus on making sure that this part up to the score marks stays nice and straight. Okay, so it doesn't matter where you start it, just start it somewhere and match it up and bring it up so that it's flush with your edge. That is perfect. And you're going to start in the center and work our way out, because remember the edge, the end here is a little tapered. It should be flush with the top of the green and flush with the bottom of the lid up to the score mark, at which point it's going to taper in a little bit. Okay, so we are going to put glue on this whole thing, but what I would almost do if you're using this material is start in the center. You can always peel it back a little bit. And it doesn't matter if it's right side up or upside down, all the same. Let me start on this side here. Get that on there. Again, I'm feeling with my fingers here to make sure that it's flush with the top and flush with the bottom. And then continue that up until you get to that score mark, at which point don't worry about it if it's not totally flush. And that's expected because it tapers. Just focus on that middle part first. Make sure that's making good solid contact. And then worst case scenario, if we need to, can always paint a little bit of glue in there to help the rest of it sit nice and firm. Okay, but you can see this peels back just enough to where I can get my glue nozzle in there, apply glue to the rest of it. And again, don't worry about getting this lined up. It is not going to be flush because it tapers. We do need to glue it down because the next layers are going to go over it. Okay, same thing on this side. Peel that back up to the tab. Make sure you get that glue all the way out to the edge. And that very end is not going to be flush, and that's okay. That is by design. Look at that. That is really cool. Okay, so there's piece number 1. Putting green looks great. Okay, this piece has no numbers on it. This piece has a number 2 on one side. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to take the side that does not have the score mark. This side tapers in and it has a Roman numeral 2 on it. We're going to start with the side opposite of that side and pop this on top and align it with the score mark. I can barely see it, but it's there. Yep, I can see it right there. Okay, it's going to go like that. We're going to start right there. This is going to be flush, and it's going to continue to be flush up until we get to that other score mark, at which point it will taper. Okay, so now I'm venturing into more uncharted territory here. I've got this craft-like material, and I'm going to try to glue this on top of this grassy stuff. I had to spend a minute looking for it, but I found it. Okay, press that into place, up against the surface, make sure it's flush with the top. And I'm definitely gonna have to hold this in place here for a few extra seconds, because apparently it doesn't like the fact that I'm gluing this on top of that grassy stuff, and that's okay. It's not a problem. I'm gonna just hold that in place until it sets. Now, if you're just using paper, you're probably not gonna run into this problem, but I can tell that I'm gonna need to just hold this in place for a few extra seconds. Maybe actually maybe a minute or so, who knows. Okay, then the rest of this, I'm actually gonna pull this off. I'm gonna re-glue that once this part really sticks for me. It's kind of not, but it will. Once it's fully dry, it'll be fine. And this is why we push our boundaries, just to see what's possible. Yeah. If you are using this material, just be very patient with this process here as you apply one of these turf strips onto another. It needs some time, and that's okay. All right, let's continue on here. And I'm gonna go all the way out to the edge here. Okay, so here, this is going to be flush. So just make sure it's flush with the bottom up until we get to that score mark, at which point it will no longer need to be flush, because again, it tapers in. Okay, so if you are using this material, do yourself a favor and just make sure you give yourself plenty of time for it to dry. Now, this last little strip is the one that does not have any numbers on it, and I'm not overly concerned about the placement as long as it covers up the two other ones that are already there. And we just want to make sure that we keep it flush with the top and bottom. This one does not taper at the ends. Okay, so let's get our glue going. And I'm going to start with the center here because I know now from experience that these end points here, I will need to spend a little extra time making sure that I'm patient while it sets. This is even worse than taking and gluing glitter on glitter. It really is. Okay, so keeping it nice and flush with the top and bottom. I'm going to focus on alignments. Then we'll make sure that the middle part is making good contact, and then I'll focus on kind of holding the two ends down in place. So this is where, if you have some, oh geez, what do they call those? Oh boy, my goodness, this is how, what are they called? These little clips that you would hang clothes with. What can I think of the word? Probably because I don't use them. Clothes clips? I don't know. Anyway, so the middle part is in place. Everything is nice and flush. Looks great. And again, just going to need to spend a few extra minutes just making sure that this little section here where the two parts overlap really take and grip nicely. So I will be back here in just a moment once this has fully set. Clothespins, that's what they're called. Boy. Okay, so as you can see here, my lid is done using this faux grass paper or whatever you want to call it, and it actually works. So I'm very thrilled about that. I'm going to fire up my hot glue gun, and in the meantime, what we're going to do here, so you can see here, this is our little flag pin, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hot glue gun and I'm going to really just pop it right in there and just kind of cake that with glue. It'll fill this compartment, and then I'll pop this in there and let that set. We're going to try to make sure that we let it set evenly. But before we do that, let's get the flag glued onto the pin, or onto the flag pole, I should say. Okay, and we want it this way. So what you can do, you want to fold this. You don't want to completely fold it, but you do need to fold it a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply glue to the end of this. We'll leave part of the middle sort of exposed, and I'm going to hot glue the pole into the center there. Just glue that down like so. And we did include the number 18. Okay, now if you're maybe making this a prize for like a hole-in-one or something, you might want to cut out a different number, and that's okay. We only included 18. Now if I can find the number 1. There it is. Okay. Also included a little shadow element for the number as well. Okay. So let's glue that down so we can put it on the flag before we install it onto the lid. Just throwing a few little dots of glue on that number and gluing that down. Try to get it as accurate as you can. There we go. Okay, clean off my nozzle here. All right, so you can either glue that down, or maybe, why not, let's grab a little foam square and give this a little bit of dimension. Okay, there we go. That looks nice. 18, okay. All right, so now, this thing turned off already? I think it turned off because I wasn't using it. Let me see here. There we go. Yeah, it's still nice and warm. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take and just apply a little bit of glue just to the top part. Okay, and then, like I said, I didn't glue this down all the way. Just gave it enough room to pop this in there and press it up against the inside, like so. Push that as far as it'll go, like that. Okay, and then, that's the beauty about hot glue, is it sets really quick, and that's gonna go right in there like that. And I want it kind of so that it's going this way, so that when you see everything from the side, you'll see the flag pin, the 18, and the ball. Okay, so now I'm going to take my nozzle for my hot glue, and I'm just going to start pumping it in there. Whoa. Okay, I got a little too much on there. That's okay. And let's pop that right in. There we go. Okay. And I'm going to just stand up, look from the top, just to make sure that it is standing up straight. And there we go. Okay. And I have my little ball. Now on yours, you're going to see a little X that's on there to help you position the ball, but you could really put it wherever you want. I'm going to put mine right there, and I can tell that this is started kind of tilting off to the side. I don't want that. I got that little wispy stuff all over the place here. Okay, that looks good. And let's anchor our ball. We got a hot glue mess over here. Just putting a little drop on the bottom, like so. And I'm going to put mine right here. Just like that. What the hell? Okay, so check that out. That is pretty darn cool. Okay, There we go. All right, so if you need to, what you can always do is take a look at your edges here, and if you have any little sections that maybe you're not completely happy with, don't forget that you can grab a scrap piece of paper and just kind of add a little bit of glue into any little areas that maybe are not sitting completely flush, and then just give those a little press just to really clean it up and make it look nice and polished. But overall, I'd say for what we just created, I think it's pretty spot on. Again, if there's any little section that you want to clean up a little bit, just get a little glue on the very edge of a piece of paper and then just press and connect those two little areas so that everything looks nice and seamless. But very happy with that and how that turned out. Okay, so key thing to note here is that we want to make sure that when we build the base, that we build it so that it fits the lid. Okay, so these two pieces, I'm going to put these on top of each other so that they fit perfectly, okay? And in this case, what that means is that our base liner, BL, I'll turn it this way, BL, my texture side is up. It's facing me. The bottom, and that's really all we need to worry about right now, okay? Because if we take a look here, as long as we have it like this, we'll notice that this shape matches up, okay? So that'll fit. So we just want this face up so that you're actually looking at the BL, okay? So just like we did with the lid, we have these three pieces here, and we need to join them all together, okay, in the same fashion. So what I'm going to do here is, they're all the same. Doesn't matter which one you grab first. I'm going to grab this one, and we're going to begin by just applying glue to this section here. Get it out to the edge there and almost up to the score mark, not quite. And then on this piece, we're going to go right up to the edge. And I'm going to spread that out. I need a little more there. Spread that out all the way to the edge. Okay, get that off the side. And we're going to pop this right onto this section here, right up to the score mark. I want to make sure that top part, these score marks are nice and even. This little tab here, it is going to taper in ever so slightly, so you can't use that as a guide for alignment. You're going to use this whole thing as a guide for alignment. That's why I'm using my little ruler here on my self-healing cutting mat as my guide to make sure that it's all nice and level and even and straight. Okay, so we're going to go and grab this piece now, and let me grab this piece here. We're going to apply glue to the edge of this, all the way down, just up until you get a little bit right before that little score mark. You don't want to go past the score mark. Okay, and then this piece is going to go on here, which means that we need to put some glue right up to the edge of this section, like so. Okay, and get that lined up. Remember, can't really use it as a guide. Can't use the edge as a guide to make sure it's even. You got to use the whole length of these two pieces here just to make sure that it's lined up correctly. Okay, looks pretty straight, I'd say. That'll work. Okay, so all three pieces are now connected, and finally we're going to join the two sides together. So here is the side with the score marks. Get a little bit out to the edge, bring it in, don't go past the score marks. Okay, now this is going to be a little funky here. You just need to kind of hold that in midair while we put glue out to the edge of this piece. Okay, and then bring that over and right up to that little score mark, like so. Whoops. I had a little glue shoot out there because I didn't thin it out. Make sure that top is nice and even. And there we go, press that down. I got a little gap there. I'm gonna have to fix that. Okay, how's that look? That looks great. Let's rip that glue off. You can see I've got a little gap there, which I'm not a big fan of. So I'm gonna take my scrap piece of paper, throw a little bit of glue on there, and just tuck it in between there. I thought I put some glue on the very edge of that. Just maybe didn't do a good job of pressing it down. But we can clean that up, no big deal. And just press that down. Okay, so remember, BL, this piece BL needs to be facing up. Okay. All right, that looks better. Okay, so now one other thing too. So we have, what's going to happen here is we're going to flip this over. We need to push all these tabs down. Sorry for the sound. It's almost like nails on a chalkboard. And I would bring them all the way down. Make sure they're nice and loose. Okay, and here's what we're going to do. So here's the shape of the lid. Okay, here's the shape of the base. We're gonna pop this in here. And it doesn't really matter how it goes in. We're gonna form this so that it hugs the shape. Again, making sure that your BL is actually visible, the two letters. Okay, forming the shape. And then if you want, what you can do is rotate this, spin it, so that the seams match up, or make it so that there's not as many seams on the front. We have a total of 3 seams, and you can move them to wherever you want. If you want to match up the seams with the seams on this, you can see I have a seam here, which is about this point here. I mean, I don't think it's ever going to be completely exact, but you can get it in the ballpark, which is still cool. Okay, but in my case, I think what I want to do, since I'm going to be displaying it like this in my photo shoot, I want to make sure that I have my best looking seam in the front. No, it's definitely not that one. I think that's the one there. And we'll put it right about there. Where'd you go? Okay. So ultimately, this doesn't really matter that much. I'm just being OCD right now, and that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, so let's see. I'll go right about there. Yeah, that looks nice. Okay, so let's anchor it at one point here. So I'm just gonna kind of leave this roughly here, and I'm just gonna put some glue on 3 of these little tabs. We'll bring them down. Leave my little bean in there. Okay, right where I put that glue, I'm gonna push up against the wall and push down from the inside, and that's gonna start the process. Okay, just gotta make sure the BL is visible and it's right side up. And there we have those 3 tabs anchored. Let's make sure all the tabs are out. And then we'll just go around the horn here and apply glue to one at a time here. Fold them over and push up against the wall, up against the BL piece, and push down from the inside. Just make sure it's hugging that little skeleton piece as tight as it can. And there we go. And the rest of it is cake. It's just a little repetitive process, but it's easy, and you kind of can't mess it up. I mean, you can. Just don't drink a bunch of wine before you get into the craft room, because nothing good ever comes from that, except for a messy project and a hangover. There we go. And just gonna keep on cruising here. You can do as few or as many as you feel comfortable with. I'd say that you could probably get away with doing maybe a dozen at a time without, you know, without running into problems. Maybe you could do more if you're quick. I'm just gonna try to be a little conservative. Okay. There we go. Fold those over and just continue. And when you get to these seams here, you might need to apply a little extra pressure, a little extra push to get it to conform to that shape, but not difficult. Okay, let's flare out a few more and just keep on working. If you have a little bit of glue that shoots out while you're doing this, it's not the end of the world, because we have one more piece that ultimately will be going on top, hiding all these. Okay. I got a little resistance happening here, and that's okay. Just keep pushing up against that structure, press down from the inside. Looks good so far. I don't know how I ended up with glue here. That's pretty interesting. How the heck did that happen? Try that again. Maybe some of it came undone just now. It's possible. No worries. It's working out nicely. Okay. I got one tab here that I need to pop back out. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Fold those over and continue pushing up against the BL piece. And press down from the inside. And almost there. I'm just going to do the rest of these. I think we can handle it. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Fold them over. And again, just continue to push from the inside. There we go. And there we have it. Okay, so let's take a look. Let's see how that fits. Beautiful. Look at that. And almost matched up those seams perfectly, but again, I'm not worried about ultimate perfection here. Okay, so this is our bottom now, and we're just going to simply apply glue to the entire bottom and finish it off with this piece. So you can go ahead and do a nice thick line around the perimeter. A little in there, and then I'm going to take this and spread this out to the edge, all the way around the perimeter. Nice and even. Okay. I made a mess there. Oh boy. I am not on top of my game right now. Okay, just line that up as accurately as you can. And just work your way around, pressing that down. You can flip it over, push down from the inside. Okay. And just make sure that everything looks good. Okay, so as you can see here, I'm gonna put, now this thing might be a little wonky, but as soon as you put the lid on, it will find its shape, and then you can see there how nice that looks. I'm gonna go around the bottom here and just make sure that my seams look nice and tight. If there are any little areas that need a little extra love, as usual, you can grab your little scrap piece of paper and just tuck it into those little areas where maybe it's, you know, this gap is very negligible. I'm almost not even worried about it. I wish I could get this to look more like a 3D print job or something, but in reality, we are dealing with paper, so there are some limitations. But as you can see, there is our beautiful gift box that is basically a putting green. So, I mean, how's that for a paper project for you? The flag is there. You got your ball on there. We thought about making a tee. I guess if you wanted to, you can get an actual tee and, you know, kind of hot glue it into place. But realistically, you never really tee off on a green, so that doesn't make any sense. But that's going to do it. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the project. If you did, please take a moment, visit us on our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. While you're there, hit the little bell so you get notifications anytime we release a new project, whether it be paid or free. And if you make this or anything from our new bundle, I'd love to see it, and so would the rest of our community. So head over to your Facebook and do a search for Dreaming Tree Official. That's where you'll find myself and over 45,000 other dreamers that inspire us daily. So hope you had a blast, and as always, I look forward to crafting with you again. Hey, thanks for crafting along with me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, check out some of our other videos, and please consider hitting that subscribe button. Also, don't forget to visit our site and check out our free SVG section, where you'll find over 140 free SVG files complete with assembly tutorials. I'll see you in the craft room.